The cries of two infant girls pierced the air as their mother flung them carelessly onto the worn-out mattress and began shoving clothes into an old travel bag. Her face was hardened tight with fury, like a volcano ready to erupt. Chidi, her husband, stood by helplessly, cradling desperation in his voice. "Amara, the babies are crying. They need their mother." But Amara didn't even flinch. Her voice was sharp, cold, and cruel. "They're no longer my problem. I'm done with all of this. I'm leaving you." She didn't stop to look at him. Her hands moved frantically, stuffing clothes into the bag like she was trying to erase every trace of her life there. "Please, don't go," Chidi begged, his voice breaking. "If not for me, then at least stay for the sake of the girls, Chioma and Zara. They're only babies. God gave them to us." Amara whirled around, eyes blazing with resentment. "I didn't marry you to suffer, Chidi. I married for comfort, not hunger and stress. You lost your job, and now look at this miserable life." She paused, sneered, and threw one last dagger at his heart. "As for the babies, do whatever you want with them. I honestly don't care." In fact, she let out a bitter laugh. "I wouldn't even care if they lived or died." She zipped up the bag in one swift, angry motion and stormed out, slamming the door behind her like a final punch to the chest. Once, this home had been filled with laughter and love. But everything changed the day Chidi lost his job. Since then, Amara had grown colder by the day, always complaining. The cramped one-room apartment, the bland food, the lack of luxury she once enjoyed. Chidi tried his best, not just because he still loved her, but because of their baby girls, Chioma and Zara, only 3 months old. But nothing he did was ever enough for her. Now, left in the silence broken only by the soft cries of his daughters, Chidi picked them up and held them close to his chest. Their tiny bodies trembled, their eyes swollen with tears. He rocked them gently, humming a soft lullaby through his own tears until they began to calm. He looked at them, 2 fragile pieces of heaven, and a quiet strength filled his voice. "I may not have riches to give you the world," he whispered, "but I swear, I will give you all the love in mine. I will be the best father you could ever ask for." Weeks passed, and the pain of Amara's absence lingered like a shadow in the small, dimly lit room. Chidi had sold almost everything of value just to buy diapers and baby formula. His body grew thin, his eyes weary, but he never once complained, not in front of his daughters. He strapped Chioma and Zara to his chest with an old wrapper and walked the streets of Lagos every day, knocking on gates, begging for odd jobs, washing cars, running errands, anything. Some days, they didn't eat. Some nights, he cried in silence, afraid the sound of his pain might disturb the sleeping angels he protected. Then one day, as he was scrubbing the floor of a restaurant kitchen for a few naira, the owner, Madame Nkechi, walked in. She was a stern woman in her 50s, but her heart softened when she saw the tired young man with babies wrapped to his back. "You're working with newborns strapped to you?" she asked, shocked. "They have no one else," Chidi replied simply, not looking up. Madame Nkechi saw something in him, strength wrapped in suffering. She took a long pause, then said, "Come tomorrow. I'll give you a real job. You'll clean, wash dishes, and when you're not working, you can keep your babies in my office." Tears welled in Chidi's eyes, but he quickly bowed his head and muttered, "Thank you, Ma." From that day on, life began to change. Madame Nkechi kept her word. She paid him fairly and even bought the twins new clothes and diapers. The customers loved seeing the babies at the restaurant. Many left extra tips just to help Chidi. Months passed. Chidi saved every kobo. He found a small daycare and enrolled the girls. He worked double shifts and began learning how to cook from the chefs. Soon, Madame Ketchy made him a kitchen assistant. And then, one bright morning, a customer walked into the restaurant, a young woman named Ifioma. She was elegant, kind, and carried the air of someone who had known hardship but overcome it. She watched as Chidi fed his daughters during his break, laughing softly as they clutched his fingers with their tiny hands. "You're their father?" she asked curiously. "Yes," he replied, smiling. Their mother left. There was something about his honesty, his quiet strength, that touched her deeply. Day after day, Ifioma returned. Sometimes with baby clothes, sometimes with food, and over time with something more: compassion, admiration, and a growing affection that neither of them could deny. But just when life began to settle, Amara returned. Dressed in heels and flashy clothes, she barged into the restaurant one afternoon like a storm, demanding to see her children. The staff froze.